Okay, now we're
Okay,
video.
ready?
Yeah, we're at video.
Okay, so we'll just point out a couple of conformational things or physical body postural things that can affect the horse going under saddle. This horse has been adjusted now, so he's a little bit more relaxed and softer in his top line, but when we look at a whole horse approach and how everything is connected, when we first worked with this horse this morning, he was really, really tight, and you see there he still wants to react a little bit. He's really tight in his pole and his atlas, and his tendency was to want to put his head straight up. He was a little bit reactive being in a new environment. So if you think about horses that are tense and tight and have their heads up looking around at things, they're releasing cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So same thing if you're riding a horse in extreme elevation with its head straight up in the air, instead of releasing endorphins and calming hormones, you have a tendency to trigger the parts of the brain and the nervous system that are going to stimulate stress. So he's looking around in his new environment, but when the head comes up, he gets really tight in his pole, and then you can see the underside of his neck wants to bulge out. So these muscles on the bottom side of the neck are pulling, and when we're riding a horse, we want the exact opposite. We want these muscles in here to become soft and arched and have these muscles on the top of the neck activate. So when you get the S curve in the neck like this is not conducive to a horse carrying itself correctly and working over the top line, because he's basically just bulging through his shoulders and he's tight in his neck and in his pole. Good boy. If you continue with that connection and you look at his top line, you can see how he has a little bit of a groove.
Let me get up here to see the groove.
See the dip in his spine?
Yeah.
I think it'll show.
I think it's, yeah.
Yeah, you
right
can see
there.
it in there. So he's got a bit of a dip. Wherever you get a dip in the spine like that, that usually corresponds to a drop in the back. And then you have to look down here and look at the drop in the core,
belly, yeah.
and drop in the belly. So it is imperative, both for humans and for horses, if we're going to be strong posturally, that they have to be strong in their core. This is the rectus abdominis muscle through here. When you add the force of gravity, so we're pulling down on the horse's belly, but then you're also putting a saddle on the back and then a rider on top of that, we're adding more and more force to that spine. And everything is pulling down. The counter to that is we have to be strong in our core so that the belly can lift, thereby engaging the top line and making the top line strong so that you can safely and correctly carry a horse and a rider. So one of the things that we can do from the ground with that to assess, can the patient even do it, and then to visually look at a change in the top line, is to just ask him gently to do a little belly lift. So I'm just patting him on the belly so he knows that I'm coming there so I don't spook him. And I'm going to ask him right there to lift his top line, and you can see how his withers come up and how that groove that was in his back has disappeared.
Yeah.
And then if you, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, if you look farther back, you see this line right here?
Yeah, I can
He's
see
actually engaged his abdominal muscles right there.
Oh, okay.
So that is him going to the gym and doing his ab exercises. The other way that we can do that, because we're looking at you,
Yeah, that's what we want.
is with the hip tuck. So a horse that, especially in dressage, but for any discipline, that's moving correctly with an engaged core and strong over the top line, has more impulsion or energy coming from the hind end. The engine is in the back end. We have to drive off the back end to make this arching connection all the way through to the pole and to the nose. So if I ask him to rotate his pelvis, there you can even see him.
You can see the back go up.
You can see the back go up, and you can see this line engage right here.
Yeah, I can see
so
it.
Same thing, he's engaging his abdominals. One of the exercises that people can do to feel this, and it looks a little bit funny, but it's really effective, is if you stand and you just drop your belly and you hollow your back out.
Oh, okay.
And then you try to take steps, you're really limited in how far you can reach underneath yourself. If you do the opposite and you suck your belly in, so you round your back and you tip your pelvis this way, you can take huge, big, easy steps.
Oh, that's good.
So it's a really simple exercise where people can feel, gosh, if I'm in this posture, and then imagine you're also carrying somebody on your back. On top of that, you've got somebody piggyback, and you're trying to run or walk and get somewhere. It's really awkward to do. Engage the abs. It's all about the core. Core strengthening, arch through the back, reaching underneath with the pelvis, and now you can take huge, big, long steps. And that's what a horse moving in a circular fashion using the proper engagement is able to do.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.